What's up, guys? Welcome to Burn the Ship. We have Jessica Little here with Sweetgrass Dairy. We got a lot of goodies here. We're about to try them, but we're going to open up the floor. Tell us about Sweetgrass Dairy.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me.
Out of Thomasville, Georgia.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. So I am a second-generation cheesemaker, which is very unique in this country.
Sure.
But my parents are dairy farmers, and I grew up on a dairy farm, knew that I did not want a dairy farm, but I love regenerative agriculture and humane animal husbandry. So my dad is actually a fourth-generation dairy farmer, and he grew up in Western New York, but he played football at UGA.
Nice.
So after one winter in Georgia, he was like, I'm never going back.
Sure.
As you can imagine. And where he met my mom, and they both have animal science degrees, and they farmed in a very conventional manner, meaning cows in freestall barns being milked around the clock and pushed for maximum production, because dairy farmers are paid on volume and not on quality. So after winning all kinds of awards, but they were just burned out. After 15 years, they were just burned out, because what most people do not understand is that the average lifespan of a dairy cow in a conventional system is only 2 to 3 years.
Oh, dang.
Really?
So that's where all of our fast food hamburger comes from, is from dairy cows
I didn't even think
that
it was real burgers.
are just not meeting expectations.
Right, okay. So they're retired dairy cows.
And but my parents were like, there has to be a better way. I mean, you're pushing cows this hard, they can't keep up. And my mom is quite a visionary. She signed my dad up for a New Zealand rotational grazing conference in 1993. They decided to switch over, and we live in one of the very few areas in the country that we have unlimited water until Atlanta figures out how to steal our water from the Floridan aquifer.
Thieves.
I know. And we have very, very mild winters.
We could attack Alabama and get their water.
I mean, we could. I feel like Georgia would win that, right?
Easy.
And we never have to put our cows in barns because it never snows. And you need 50 degrees to grow grass, and our average annual temperature is 67. So we can grow grass almost every single day of the year, and we can keep our cows on pasture year round. So it makes really, really delicious milk. And my parents were just selling it to a co-op that was mixing it with everybody else's. So by 2000, they were like, we have to show people the difference, because these cows that they had in the conventional system in this rotational grazing style farm now live on average 10 to 12 lactations, so 3 to 4 times longer than the cows in the conventional system.
So living 8 years?
Or 10 to 12 lactation, so 10 to 12 more years.
Oh, cool.
So, which is awesome. And the milk was just so much more flavorful that she thought, gosh, we have to tell people this story. And so she was making yogurt and ice cream. And cheese actually is a prehistoric food, meaning that humans have been eating cheese longer than we've had written history. So there's a very long line of art and craft, but it's also now in more recent history very, very scientific. So it was the most challenging. You only need 4 ingredients of milk, salt, rennet cultures, and you can make over 1,000 different styles of cheese. Just
why New Zealand? Like, why not Italy or France? I feel like Italy and France have been doing that for centuries, right?
Yes, except for New Zealand has most of the North and South Island don't get snow, so they can rotationally graze year round. But most of Italy and France, you'll still have to put your cows some in barns because it snows.
So it's the temperature was the same. That's why?
Roughly. I mean, they don't quite get as hot as we do, but they don't get a lot of snow. So they were able to graze year round. And my parents had just leaned in on that low input, rotationally grazed system, and the New Zealanders had kind of documented it best.
Were your parents in 4-H?
I was in 4-H.
Were
they
you?
were not. Yeah.
Okay.
I showed cows and bought my first car with cow showing money.
So I am a product of 4-H. So my mom and dad met as Rock Eagle counselors.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah. So I just with it being in agriculture, I would think that probably would.
Yes, we grew up in 4-H. I think it broke my dad's heart so I played college basketball. I think we talked about that. And I had to focus, and so I quit 4-H to focus on basketball and AAU. And he was so sad, just devastated that I left 4-H.
You left 4-H and did basketball?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's awesome. Where'd you play at?
Well, I played in Thomasville, and then I played at a small D2 school in St. Pete called Eckerd College.
Okay.
Good old
So.
I've heard of Eckerd before.
Yeah.
They're like that weird team that makes the dance every now and then for the guys,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, they do it baseball and basketball wise every once in a
Yeah,
while.
their baseball team was really strong
Yes.
when I was there.
Yes, they were good whenever I was my freshman, sophomore year. They were really, really good.
So you stopped doing the co-op thing.
Yes, and my mom really wanted to show people the difference, so she's really decided to make cheese because of how artistic and creative it was. And so she went out to California to Cal Poly and took a cheese making short course and came back and told my dad, okay, we're going to make cheese and sell it directly to the consumers. And we've always we always sold to the co-op, so they never had to market or cold call, take cheese to chefs or whatever, and never had to call people to collect
Sure.
money. And so that part of the
That's
business
awesome.
was so hard. And so I was actually at the time, if you grow up in the South, I feel like you have to go through Atlanta at some point. Like
Sure.
it's like the big train station that you have
Right.
to live here. So after I was done, with school in Florida, I actually moved to Atlanta in 2001, which was a really exciting time in Atlanta's food culture because
course.
I think there was so much infrastructure and money invested for the Olympics. And then there was, 2 5-star shops.
Where did you
here.
live?
I lived in Midtown at 710 Peachtree, like really right downtown.
Yeah, of
and then I
course.
moved to Buckhead to Colonial Homes, that apartments between Buckhead and Midtown.
So
Heck, y'all
we lived
neighbors.
we lived in Buckhead at the same time. But I lived on closer to you. I lived on 26th Street for a while, where the old Mellow Mushroom is.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of closer to you. And then I lived on Far Road for some years. So
Sure.
that was when Buckhead was awesome.
It was pretty fun. We might have crossed paths.
100%. More than likely, I was doing it then.
I was living my best
was
life. I
doing
did
it.
not want to move back to Thomasville.
I was doing it, man. I was in the club, son.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So this cheese right here looks like you get it at Publix at the expensive part of the thing because it looks eloquent.
Shockingly, you would find it in the
Yeah, of
expensive part.
course.
It's handmade.
Because it looks it. Yeah, no, for sure.
Absolutely.
Look, me and my wife buy that cheese, those different cheeses all the time. So
Awesome.
I'm a very, I might have had it before and didn't even know.
You probably have. So Atlanta's our biggest major market, but it's mainly food service. So selling to chefs and, at hotels, restaurants, golf courses, airlines, and then a portion of it definitely goes into the retail side. So Publix, Kroger, Harris Teeter, Fresh Market would be some of
Sure.
our bigger accounts.
Awesome.
That's cool. Tell us what we got here.
Sure. So this white bloomy cheese here, it looks similar to a brie. So it's called Green Hill. It's named after my parents' first New Zealand rotational grazing dairy. So my husband is now the cheesemaker. Jeremy and I bought the creamery part in 2005. So we moved back home because my mom needed help with the business side. And Jeremy has a degree in psychology from FSU, but he was saving up money to go to culinary school. He's a great chef. And she was like, Jeremy, I think you could be a great cheesemaker. And he was the one, he grew up in Toledo, Ohio. So he's like, oh my gosh, living in South Georgia would be so peaceful. I would love it so much. So he was the one that talked me into moving back in 2002. And he took over cheesemaking and I helped my mom sell it. So Green Hill was a cheese that he wanted to make to show off the milk of this rotational grazing style farm. So it's got this white blooming rind on the outside, and it's double cream cow's milk. So really rich and creamy, and you'll see this bright yellow color on the inside, and that's from the beta carotene of the grass. You don't have to take the whole thing, Ezra, if you don't want to. I just wanted to make sure that y'all could see it.
Absolutely.
And we partnered with a local.
Look, Branson, look.
We partnered with a local jam and syrup producer called Blackberry Patch in Thomasville, and they wanted to make some fruit preserves for cheese. And we were going back and forth. We were like, we need something to be like layered in flavor, and this particular one was created to go with this cheese. It's peach bourbon cardamom.
So you don't
So what do you
really-
do? You do
So-
like a little sandwich out of it?
Yeah, I would say take a cracker. This is rustic bakery sourdough crackers. Take a little bit of Green Hill, and then just drizzle a little bit of peach bourbon cardamom on the top as a little snack.
Do you eat a lot of cheese?
I do, but I was just at a trade show for 3 days eating nothing but cheese,
I'm
so
sure.
I'm going to abstain for the moment.
So you're trying to poison us over here?
I am. Hey, I had this on ice packs the whole time. Good.
Well, that's incredible.
So that's our one of our most popular cheeses.
It's awesome.
Yeah, put a little sauce with it. That's incredible.
It's really good.
I hope you're not lactose intolerant.
No.
no, we can. Yeah, again, me and my wife eat a lot of cheese.
Yeah, it's
We
incredible.
went to Italy and the cheese over there is just insanely good.
Oh, it's so amazing. Yeah, the cheese that changed my mom's life, like I always say, every brewer had a beer that changed their life that made them say, I need to know more about beer. Every winemaker, same thing. The cheese that changed my mom's life that was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that cheese could taste like this was Gorgonzola Dolce, which is a blue
good,
cheese
yeah.
from northern Italy.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
But the mozzarella cheese is where it is.
And then how much pasture land do you guys have down there that you're rotating the cows
Okay,
through?
so my parents, they had the 3 different farms. My parents recently just retired. My brother has taken over. He's a 5th generation dairy farmer. But 3 different farms, roughly 350 acres each. So at the height, the most amount of cows that they would milk is about 15 to 1,600. So roughly, 550 on each farm.
Right. That's awesome.
They
That's
when
incredible.
I went to Italy and did that, they make us or do a specific cow for the mozzarella. I didn't know that. So it was like they massage them and all kind of stuff.
Well,
It's
the
weird.
very special mozzarella in Italy would be mozzarella di bufala, so buffalo mozzarella
yeah.
in the Naples, the Campania region.
yeah.
It's amazing.
It's so good. I could like just continuously eat it.
And honestly,
And
I
it's
didn't-
cheap over there.
in all honesty, I didn't know cheese was so much of an art really until me and you had talked, and I went back and started looking at it, and I was like, oh my god, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
what it takes to do this. I was
It
like,
is.
it's crazy.
Tell me the time limit. Like what from bang to bullet? How long does it take to do this?
Okay, so Green Hill, the one that we're eating, we make them to order. So they take roughly 2 weeks from the time it's made until the time it leaves our facility, but it has a 12-week shelf life. This one, I'll tell you.
So it's 3 weeks.
This one was made on May 24th.
Awesome. Yeah. So what? A couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So very
That's
young.
cool.
The older it gets, so it will start breaking down. There'll be proteolysis and lipolysis, and it will get softer and softer. So it's firm now, but it will soften up the older it gets.
Well, it's really good. It's really good. All right, what's
Yeah.
next?
So what's next? What
Okay,
else we got?
so this is our Georgia Gouda. So Gouda coming from the Holland or, in the Netherlands. It has a natural rind. So most Goudas do not have a natural rind. This is kind of what makes it unique. You can try the little, and you could take it with the peach bourbon cardamom as well. But you can see this is cheese we inoculate the milk with these molds for this rind to grow, which will add flavor and kind of protect this cheese. It's more old world inspired.
That is
So good.
incredible.
Yeah.
That one's incredible.
Yeah. So that one is
it's
our,
rich.
It is.
It's rich. It's good though.
But it is so I have 4 boys. So it's the boys' favorite cheese because you can cook with it. They make a ton of grilled cheese sandwiches and quesadillas and
About to
nachos.
say, I get the smoked Gouda on my Italian at Publix whenever I get a pub sub.
Yes.
Get the smoked Gouda cheese, and that's pretty fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
it doesn't separate, get oily.
I'm about to freak you out. Do you know Brandy Rux?
I don't know Brandy Rux.
Oh, I could have sworn you're gonna know
Who
her.
is Brandy Rux?
Brandy
I feel
was-
like I should know Brandy Rux.
She went to Georgia, but she was big into 4-H, and her family owned a dairy farm her whole life, but it was in Griffin, Georgia.
Okay.
It's called Rux Dairy. They didn't do stuff like this.
So
This is
I
a
will
big
say
one.
that when I was in 4-H, my parents originally, their farm that they had before the rotational grazing farms was in Florida. So I did all 4-H in Florida.
Oh, okay.
All of my buddies were down from like Lake Okeechobee area.
Cool.
Okay.
So we spent a lot of time at UF.
So what about this one? What's the agent on this?
Okay, so this is made from raw milk. So the FDA states that any cheese that is consumed in less than 60 days from production must be made from pasteurized milk. So
Okay.
Green Hill is pasteurized. Gouda is raw milk, so it has to age a minimum of 2 months. This is about 4 months old.
Okay.
So
That's awesome.
our
So raw milk,
Yeah.
meaning straight from the cow.
well, it means that it's not been pasteurized, and the lowest legal temperature of pasteurization is 145 degrees for 30 minutes. But we would typically pasteurize more at like 161 degrees, for less time when we do the pasteurization. But we like raw milk cheeses because there's so much culture and enzymes in the milk that we want you to be able to taste
Right.
with the cheese. And we do send our cheeses to an independent third-party lab in Virginia to test for pathogenic bacteria because we don't want to make anybody sick.
Obviously, yeah.
So,
Well, that's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Thank you. I'm going to be fine tonight.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
What's the third one?
Yes.
okay, so this is one of our newer cheeses. We thought originally that we were going to try to make like a pepper jack, but this is not. This one, we were like, why make a pepper jack when everybody else does it? So we wanted to make one that had more southwestern, like smoky and savory flavor profiles. So this one's called Heat, but it's not very spicy. It's got hatch chilies and New Mexico chilies, Mexican oregano, a little cumin, and paprika. So a little more savory and smoky in that flavor
You
profile.
can taste the smoke.
Yeah.
So
Also rich, though. It's good.
You can eat that whole with it, no cracker.
My stomach would hurt if I ate the whole thing, but I would. I could murder it.
Yeah.
And we have a sister cheese to this one. It's called Cypress. It's our Mediterranean inspired. So garlic, sun-dried tomatoes, black olives, and basil. So trying to make something, 10 years ago, we wouldn't have made a flavored cheese because we really just wanted to show off the unique qualities of the milk. But really following trends and younger demographics, they really like flavors. And they're very creative and adventurous eaters. And
Absolutely.
so we wanted to expand some of our options.
How many SKUs of cheese do you have?
So we typically will have anywhere from 10 to 12 at any given time, and then we usually have
rotate
another.
them?
No, that's at all times, and then during the holidays we'll have another 3 or 4, just like
So
seasonal.
every holiday you'll do a 3 different kinds, but you have the 12 you always have them.
We always have them.
Okay.
Yep, and some of those 12, they might be sold in different sizes. So like Georgia Gouda will come in a full wheel, but also a retail ready piece. So we kind of, because restaurants want a whole wheel, they don't want individual pieces for their boards. Right. But during the holidays, we have an Alpine style, so similar to a Swiss. We have a cheddar style. We just don't make those year round. They're more for.
I went to Aruba like last week or the week was it week before? Week before. Anyways, they were doing something I'd never seen before, and they were doing whole meals out of a wheel of cheese. Like they were cooking in
a wheel.
Yeah.
Was it Parmesan Reggiano?
I don't know what it was but I think it was different ones because other restaurants were doing it too. But I'd never seen that before.
I've never been
in
to
my
Aruba.
life.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, you should go. It's fun.
I mean, what were you eating out of these wheels?
I didn't eat it at all. I just saw it. Look, we were there for 3 days, 4 days, so we didn't have a lot of time to do that. But I'll go back and do it. But it's I would say like YouTube it.
Okay.
Pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up.
Scott. And
then what-
it's like cooking out of
What's your
wheel
favorite
cheeses
cheese that
and
you guys
Aruba.
have on the SKU?
Well, I will
Your
say
best seller is this?
Like Green Hill's our best seller. So I
it's
mean,
good.
it has a very special place in my heart. It's helping send these children to college. So
It has
I'm
a special
very,
place in my stomach.
so I'm very thankful for
That
it.
Gouda's going home with me.
So we do
not.
make
yeah.
a blue cheese called Asher Blue that I really love a lot. Because a little bit of blue goes a long way, like on a steak or in a salad or something
Absolutely.
like that. So we eat a lot of blue cheese too.
Yeah, blue cheese burger. Get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
With yeah, there we go.
So yeah, that's Parmesan Reggiano right there. A lot of times people will make like pasta and stuff.
Yeah, that's what they were doing.
Yeah, that's cool. It's quite a show.
Yeah, it was cool seeing them do it.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's the king of cheeses right there.
That's who this is?
And that's what they say. Parmesan Reggiano is the king of cheeses.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And then out of the cheese making, along with the restaurant, what are you guys doing inside the restaurant?
So we,
Look,
when
there you
we,
go. Look.
I know,
Oh, boy, get out of here. I'll eat you right now.
I would too. So we started, making cheese in 2000. Jeremy and I came back in 2002. And there was immediately demand in the Northeast and the West Coast for pasture-grazed milk products. Like the consumers out west, because of what Chez Panisse and all that farm-to-table movement started out on the West Coast. So those consumers were pretty savvy about, and they really loved this family-owned and operated, cheesemakers and dairy farmers creating these pasture-based cheeses. So it was really exciting because we were sending cheeses further and further away, but we were really not involved in our own community at all. And I grew up in Thomasville and really wanted a way to interact with our own community. So we opened the cheese shop in 2010, and it was almost all retail right downtown on the bricks of historic Thomasville. And it was almost all retail with 3 little tables in the back. And you could get, I think I had 4 different cheese boards that you could order, and really great wines and beers because wine is such a hobby of mine. And I wanted a reason to do my couple levels of, sommelier tests and have reasons to drink a lot of wine. So I was like, we'll just put 3 little tables in the back, and if anybody wants to have a seat and have good cheese and great wine or beer, they can just come in, order at the counter. And we quickly realized that there were many people in Thomasville and the surrounding areas that wanted a place to go to have great cheese and wine. So over time, we took more and more of the retail shelves out and added more and more tables. So now we are in another location downtown, so a little bigger, and have a very small retail section and about 75 seats, full kitchen, full bar. Full menu. But it's very approachable food. We want it to be as much from scratch as possible, so we're cutting all of our own French fries every morning. We do, one of our most popular is a pimento cheese bourbon bacon jam burger. So it's grass-fed beef, and it's just delicious.
Pull up her website.
Their website's nifty. It's super good.
Super clean. I saw it earlier.
And then with the burger, is it coming from your guys' cows or is it?
No. It's a beef producer.
Okay.
So.
What's the website?
So.
You know those cows' names?
I do not.
No.
Bonnie
I should ask my brother.
Clyde.
Do you name them?
I do not.
Did they name them?
No, they have numbers.
Oh, okay. Cool.
They got their little tag number.
Tags.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, 1785 right there.
Yeah, that's right. You can just close that. I'm not there.
Go to the restaurant. Let's pull up that old menu. Let me see what I'm going to eat tonight.
So, there you go. Click on that food one.
So, and then you say you're a wine connoisseur. Do you distill and do your own wine?
I do not. I'm strictly a consumer.
Okay.
Not a producer.
So you're saying you might be a wine snob.
Well, I don't know that I would say I'm a wine snob, but I will find something that I appreciate about most wines. But yes, we tend to drink really good wine.
Yeah.
So steak frites, salads, burgers, grilled cheese sandwiches, fried chicken sandwiches,
Sammy.
Yeah.
Fried chicken Sammy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A cheesesteak. So our thing was that we wanted it to be really, really pedestrian approachable, but as much made in-house as possible with, storied ingredients. So we try to partner with like-minded producers or, things that also have
stories
to tell.
Right.
About
I want you to create a cheese and name it after me. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
What would you like us to name it?
My last name's Worthy.
Worthy?
That's a good cheese for a name. Name for a cheese.
It is. What kind of cheese is your favorite to eat?
What kind of? Oh man, I like it all. I just do. I like almost every bit of cheese.
There really isn't bad cheese.
What's your desert island cheese? If you could only take one cheese to eat every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh wee.
I mean, probably mozzarella, but just because it's so awesome. But I don't know. I like it. I like Swiss. A lot of people don't like Swiss, and I love Swiss. I love Munster cheese, as my kids say, monster cheese.
I like pimento cheese.
Pimento cheese is awesime, but pimento cheese, you can screw it up.
You can,
right?
Absolutely.
It's not like cheddar is cheddar to me. And when it comes to mild meat, if you got the same, it's kind of the same, but you can screw pimento cheese up.
Okay.
There's a couple of really good. The more higher end pimento cheese at like Publix that's like $6 a thing that is really, really, really good. I can't remember the name brand, but it's awesome.
Talking about the one in the little plastic tub.
Yeah.
So we have one at Publix that's very expensive. It's probably $8.99.
Yeah.
But it's Sweetgrass Dairy pimento cheese. We use Thomasville Tome, which is a French farmhouse style, as the base. So most pimento cheese makers are dips and spreads makers, right? They're not making their own cheese. So we make everything from the cheese, in it. But Jeremy, again, he grew up in Ohio, so he didn't grow up eating pimento cheese, and he didn't want to compete with everybody's grandmother's recipe because everybody's grandmother makes the best pimento cheese.
Absolutely.
And he was really obsessed with Spanish culture and cuisine. So we use Thomasville Tome, Duke's mayonnaise, because we're good Southerners.
Awesome.
Piquillo peppers instead of pimentos.
I think all mayonnaise is from the South, though, really.
I mean, Northerners love some Hellmann's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hellman's like when we grew up, Blue Plate was was a big Southern.
Yeah, that's
thing.
true.
I mean,
That is made in the
Dukes
South.
is out of North Carolina, so I mean, it's Southern, but
Blue Plate and Duke's is definitely got a rival in my household.
my wife, and look, I like mayonnaise. I'm a big mayonnaise fan, so I don't really care. But she likes Kraft. And I'm like, that's kind of the worst one, I think. You know what I mean? But what I wanted to do, and I told Branson and Bailey this, but for Soup Sandwich Podcast, which is our like kind of entertainment, we do stupid shit. But it's I wanted to take the Kraft mayonnaise because she thinks she can tell a lot and she can't. I know she can.
It's like the difference between Natural Light, Bud Light, and Busch Light.
She thinks she can taste the difference, and my daughter does too. Oldest daughter thinks she can taste the difference between the cheese dip at one Mexican restaurant to the one right thing, and they cannot because it's the same cheese. They get it from the same place.
Right.
You can't. So I wanted to mix Dukes with. I wanted to take all the Kraft out and then put the Dukes in there and just see if she knows.
Okay, well, this is what we should do. Is we make two different versions of our pimento cheese. One we make with Sir Kensington mayonnaise because it needs to be clean. We have some.
What's it called?
Sir Kensington.
I've never even heard of that.
It's really good, but it's very lemony and bright. And the other one we make with Dukes. So we could send you both versions and you can taste them.
I'm gonna go to Publix and buy yours
if it's
today.
at Publix, we're gonna buy it today. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's Sweetgrass Dairy pimento cheese, and we use pimentone, so smoked paprika in it. So it's got this and Dijon mustard, so it's a little bit of a kick to it.
I bet it's fire.
It's really good. We on a dare, I dare Jeremy to submit it into the American Cheese Society has an annual judging and competition, and it's kind of like our Super Bowl of cheese competitions. And I think this was 2017. I was like, you need to submit this pimento cheese and let's just see. He was like, there's no way it's gonna win anything. I mean, it's flavored, pimento cheese. And it got a 99 out of 100. So I was like, we're on to something. We're going to launch this in distribution.
Yeah, congratulations. Has it done well since then?
It's our third best-selling SKU. So
I feel like,
that's awesome.
Being in the business that I'm in merchant services, I get to talk to a lot of different businesses, obviously. But, like how your mom and dad and the generations, it made it where you guys could take chances and risk and stuff. Where if I wanted to be a cheesemaker, it would be almost impossible for me to do that, to get into that business for money and all kinds of other reasons. But like, that's a hard business to get into.
It is.
And you get to get that shelf space and all that. It's insane.
Ooh. Well, I will tell you, I
dirty,
do not
right?
believe that if Sweetgrass Dairy started in 2024, that we would have the same chance of success as we did in 2000.
For sure. Me
So
too.
we were the first cheesemakers in Georgia in 2000, and there was no Food Safety Act. Like, that's a relatively recent legislation that has all of these traceability rules and regulations, and it's so costly to sell into the grocery channels that I just don't believe that we have the same chance of success if we started now.
No, 100.
So it would be
No doubt.
It would definitely be hard. Now, I will say, cheesemakers, in at least the people that I have met, kind of come to it from a couple different places. One,
That's my cheese.
they could be either dairy farmers that needed to make a value-added product, so that's like us, in order to stay in business, because you don't want to compete with these huge. I mean, there are 100,000 cow dairies. I mean, it's just unbelievable, just the scale, and you just can't compete with those scales of economy. And then, but there's also,
Where are those farms? In the Midwest?
I mean, there's some in Idaho, some in California. I mean, there's some big farms in Wisconsin. There's actually some big farms in South Florida, in the Lake Okeechobee area.
And are those cows strictly for a craft cheese and a Sargento,
Well,
or do all of them buy that same?
Milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And then they do the cheese on their own.
Yeah. So and like, we will make this year, we are slated to make about 450,000 pounds of cheese, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not. We're small, small craft producer.
That wheel that we just saw, how many gallons of milk does it take to make that wheel?
Well, you only get about a
saw.
10% yield. So for every 10 pounds of milk, you're only going to get 1 pound of cheese.
Okay.
So
So that was like look like 30 pounds or something. That's a
Oh,
huge
that
one.
What's it-
Parmigiano,
yeah, what-
that's
yeah.
huge. I mean,
What would you
they're
say?
So
like,
that would take 100 gallons of milk
I mean, probably
because
well,
it would be
those-
10 gallons to do that.
Well, they're pounds, so there's 8.6 pounds in a gallon.
okay,
so
okay,
you gotta
gotcha,
do the
gotcha. All right,
transition,
yeah, gotcha.
The conversion, but like with Sweetgrass Dairy, as far as like trying to compete with that, it's so hard. Kraft or a large industrial cheesemaker can make 1 million pounds a day. So like if you think about the size that we are comparatively, like
Yeah, it's not your market. I'm just
Right.
just asking. Yeah, your market is more niche. And make a better product.
And what was the kind of that process of getting into the retail side? Like how?
Well,
how's
I
that
mean,
come about?
Because the
That's
bigger ones
awesome.
don't have these products. They don't even. I haven't seen them. The ones that I've seen in the nicer cheese part of Publix, you don't know those. I don't know those brands.
well, I mean, there's some good bigger brands that make some solid cheeses like Sargento.
Yeah,
If you would
yeah,
see
yeah.
those.
Yeah, no, I know
Caputo.
Sargento.
Like,
Yeah.
these are larger brands that are very industrial, but like they make solid cheeses. But yes, you're seeing in a lot of these retailers are offering some craft cheeses because consumers are asking,
Sure.
to support small family businesses. But we really, until COVID, 78% of our business was in the food service channel because it's so much easier to sell to a chef who just tastes it and they're
Right.
like, oh my gosh, I love it. I'll put it on a menu. And they don't have to jump through all these hoops. Whereas a retailer, they only, they might do category review one time. They're looking at their promotional planning, their planograms, what their merchandising. Do they have space? Do they not? How much are we willing to invest in their marketing programs? It's the first time I sat with a buyer and they never even tasted the cheese. They just looked at each of them and looked at the packaging. It blew my mind. I was
Right.
like, how do you buy food and not taste it?
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Looks
Yeah.
good.
And
That's why.
yeah, but during COVID, once we lost all that business, we had to really lean into the retail channel because we almost went out of business. We
Right.
needed a little bit more diversification of sales. So now we're probably about 40% in the retail channel. And it's hard. It's grueling. I just got back from a 3-day trade show, like just trying to find more placements
Right.
in retail.
That's awesome. And then you said e-commerce, and then what? So what percentage about is e-commerce?
Oh, e-com, we would love it to be more. It's probably only about 10% of our total sales. But it's a really important 10% because we can control the entire process.
The
right?
margin's better, too.
And the margin is so great.
A lot better.
But
yeah.
it does, it takes a lot of labor to package individual little boxes,
Right. Absolutely.
versus pallets.
But the margin's
Jeez.
better.
Yes. And again, I love to control that whole experience
Yeah.
from the time that they log onto our website and buy the cheese to the time it arrives at their door. I mean, we lose control with UPS, but
Right.
for the most part, we can control the experience of how they're opening
Sure.
the box and the materials in there,
Right. Absolutely.
and how they interact.
And
You
what
do
would
have a cheese club?
We do not have a cheese club. We
That's what you
should.
got to do. Subscription based. That's it.
Yeah.
Get it.
Y'all
We
would
should be
kill
the worthy cheese club.
Get it. Get
Worthy
it. Cheese club.
There it is, right there. The Worthy
Get
Brown
it.
Cheese Club.
I'm telling you, subscriptions. That's where it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll help you set that up.
And then what would you say? A wheel of cheese. As he was talking about the weight. Well, how much does a wheel of cheese typically weigh?
So that Gouda is about an 11-pound wheel.
Okay.
11 to 12 pounds. The heat is about a 7-pound wheel. So
And what
just they're
about
different molds.
And what about the breadwinner over here?
So those are 7.5 to 8 ounces.
Really? So this is like the full wheel of this.
That's it. That's the way it comes.
Huh. That's awesome.
So we make about 1,200 in a batch at the time.
Okay.
So.
That's incredible. That is super, super awesome. That's you answered all my questions.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it.
You've answered all
You
my
are so
questions.
welcome.
Yeah.
You've
Appreciate
learned
this.
so much about
This is-
cheese
I
today.
have, and I'm gonna keep learning too.
Absolutely.
When I get down there to visit some folks, I'll come see you.
You still have family in Cairo?
I do. I have family in Cairo. I have family in Tallahassee. So yeah, we get down there every now and then.
Okay. Well, you'll have to stop by.
I will.
So definitely, next time
100%
I'm on the way to
I'll call you.
Bainbridge, I'll definitely stop by
please.
for sure. But tell the people where to find you. And what,
Well, please, you can find us on our website at sweetgrassdairy.com and learn all kinds of information. We've really tried to lean in with a bunch of different recipes. So with our cheeses in the store, if you see it, There'll be a QR code for each cheese that will take you directly to pages with different recipes of how to use it. Because a lot of people, they look at artisan cheeses and think that the only way to eat it is like special occasions when you're serving it, at a party or something like that. But we really do want our cheeses to bring joy and flavor to whatever sort of occasion, whether it's after work with your wife,
Sure.
with a little cheese and a glass of wine, or with your food. I mean, it could be in the summertime, it's so hot, you could have it for dinner.
Right, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
So.
But no, thank you so much for coming. We
appreciate
thoroughly
it. Yeah,
enjoyed
thank
it,
you.
and thank you for bringing us some gifts too.
Of
She came
course.
bearing gifts. That's awesome. Yes.
Oh, anytime.
I'll burn the ship.
Burn the ship, y'all. Be kind to each other out there.